dinner at McDonald's.
Much like America, Japan is a place of rampant consumerism. Everyone is clamoring to get their business to the top, at any means necessary. Now, in America, that may mean buying a billboard, writing a commercial, signing a brand deal, or seeking exposure through television or the internet.
Is there anything today that I ate that wasn't microwaved? You fucking donut. Of course you don't put.
But in Japan, more often than not, it means making a Yuru Chara. Meaning cute, funny mascot dude, Yuru Charas are exactly that. Mascots used by just about everybody in Japan, from restaurants and corporations to even funeral homes, and even entire cities and governments. Whatever you're promoting, if you're trying to raise money or raise awareness, a mascot is mandatory. Mondo. Mascots is a Twitter account I've been following for a few weeks now. The account follows a British man's journey to document these Yuru Chara, posting them for all to see and detailing who and what they are. Without this account, I wouldn't have access to the knowledge to have even made this video, let alone the photos to include or even these guys' names, so please go throw them a follow. A massive thanks to Chris Carlier, aka Mondo Mascots, for making this video possible. But which are the best, and stand among the rest as true icons, which are so strangely weird that they hardly feel like they'd sell anything at all? Because these guys would dominate the list if they were added, I'm going to avoid some of the giants in the Yuru scene, being Rilakkuma, the legendary Kumaimon, and Domo, aka the greatest character design of all time. These three are so famous and have so much lore and merchandise that they're almost a different thing entirely. I also have 3 dishonorable mentions too, just to round everything out. I found a lot of weird ones. I bet Mondo's posts have hardly scraped the surface of how many mascots truly roam the streets of Japan searching for their next victim.
It feels like somebody wants to sell me something!
I told you he was on to us!
Our first of the 3 is Chiba Ken. Here he is. You know, I really feel bad for hating on these cute fellows, but what are you, Chiba Ken? I thought you were some sort of eldritch dino nugget, but he's actually supposed to be the outline of Chiba Japan. But you know, a dog. But to really rub it in, there's an infinitely better mascot called Chiba-kun, who is also the shape of Chiba, but not in the stupidest way possible. He's much more popular, and I really love when he's drawn like this. This is a flawlessly adorable design. He would be friends with Snoopy. Chiba-kun and Chiba-ken coexist and are even buddies, but it seems in recent years both have been unfortunately churned into the same ugly design. Shame on both of you, but especially you. Our second ugly duckling is known as Tsukihashi Wataru, a bridge sitting on the back of a giant ghost. He looks like a living condom that someone glued a hair clip to. He's kind of a little menacing. He's silly enough that I almost like him, so he's safe. And our third and final dishonorable mention is Tank Top Kun, which is the figurehead for a rock trio known as Yabai T-Shirts Yasan. Why isn't their logo a t-shirt then? Not sure, maybe it was taken. But with albums like We Love Tank Top, You Need the Tank Top, and Galaxy of the Tank Top, it's safe to say they've come to like this guy. I haven't quite come around to him yet, and I'd chalk that up to these dead eyes. But this man does make me a little happy, envisioning what some bands in other countries' Yuru Chara would look like. I can imagine a big fuzzy jester seating you at a concert for the Garden, or a talking head for that one band. Starting with the 15th worst, then the 15th best, then the 14th worst, and so on. So let's begin with the best of the worst, shall we? Our top of the bottom spot at 15th worst is Pokey. This dude was designed by a guy by the name of Hayao Miyazaki, creator of a couple little indie gems. You've probably never heard of him. This guy roams the streets near the Ghibli Museum. But he isn't just the mascot for the museum, no, he's the mascot for the whole damn city it's in. This one really just hurts because when you look back at how many of the most adorably iconic designs to ever come out of Japan have been from the pen strokes of this one man, and then the city asks him to design one of their own, and he shits out this ugly thing, making his head physically impossible to recreate as a mascot. It's like he was trolling them. I'd love some more information on Pokey's origins if there's anybody that's more knowledgeable on his creation. Something unique Mitaka does with its mascot is plastering him all over these decorative manhole covers. I really like this simple idea, making something totally innocuous a cute little piece of art. But the sewer is a good place for this strange little fiend, and he's someone that I love to hate. The 15th best is Yonderu, a kangaroo found in Nagoya City Library. I love kangaroos, and his name is a cute pun that I don't think I get, and he's just made of such big, friendly shapes, he just looks so nice. He reminds me of a mascot from an edutainment game, like that rabbit guy from Jumpstart Kindergarten or something. If I would have seen this guy at every Scholastic book fair, my early life would have probably been at least 5% better. The reason he's so low is because this is the mascot for a library, so you already know they're too broke to afford a real costume. I really don't like the look of this inflatable blow-up Roo. Make him felt and he'd go way up the list. And the 14th worst is Softkuri Inu. Believe it or not, I know I won't, they say that this is not actually a pink shit dog, but berry ice cream. Ah, isn't that funny? But its job is to crawl and clean the streets of Shibuya, the biggest city in the prefecture of Japan. And once you realize its only job is to scrape trash off the ground, this thinly veiled joke wears off fast, and you feel nothing but terrible for this poor wage slave stuck in this massive sweaty dog poop costume getting pushed around in one of the most hectic cities on the entire globe. And the 14th best is Tommy-kun. Tommy is the mascot of a woven grass flooring company called Tatami Flooring. These lines on his face are the lines you get all over you when you sleep so good your wife starts planning your funeral costs. This cute little character is cozy by nature, and I love how friendly he looks. Notice how even though it's a mascot for flooring, they aren't being weird and having people step on him like the weird bridge man. Good job, guys. Keep it up. And the 13th worst is Ku-chan. This is Kita Ibaraki City. Pretty, right? Well, what if I told you that in Ibaraki, they had a food dish, a delicacy, that has been enjoyed for generations. The main ingredient? This thing. Yes, Ku-chan is an anglerfish. In a bathrobe. I don't like him. I really don't like him. The tourism navigation business in the area is helmed by this adorable little fisherman character, and he's perfectly fine. And yes, he's buddies with Ku-chan here. I'm happy he was able to find friends, but unfortunately he won't find one with me. I think the city would be better off having An-chan turn Ku-chan into some delicious ankonabe. And our 13th best is Silky the Moth. Now you'd think I'd really love this one, but he's okay. They don't really capture the shape of the moth face at all, and what are these fin things on the side of his head? Moths also come in all sorts of colors, but they just had to characterize us as dull and drab as usual. Even silk moths can be stunning. Here's one in my collection. And the 12th worst is Shishiburi Mukaburi. This poor unfortunate soul is an abomination. He's like if you asked a kid to make the ugliest Pokemon they could think of. Tell me, honestly, what animal do you think Shishiburi here is? Well, if you guessed a lion and a yellowtail fish fused by a bolt of lightning, you'd be absolutely correct. He's got a terrible mullet unicorn horn combo, a fish for a hand, and the Conqueror from TF2 on his back. You're a mess, Mukaburi. Go home and change. And you look like you're in pain. Go get a haircut, get that thing removed, and put a damn suit on for God's sakes. Our 12th best is Sakuma-san, an adorable superhero bear with a single cherry blossom on its head. The most obvious reason to love this bear is because it's got just a perfectly simple character design. It's very cute, it isn't overworked, it's got nice bright colors, it's simple, it's easy to draw, it's easy to remember, stellar little fella. My favorite thing about them though is that they're a mascot of a college, Gakushuin University. Some notable names to come out of GU are Yoko Ono and the Hayao Miyazaki. They also have this huge Bass Pro Shops pyramid on campus. It seems like a cool place to be. School mascots around the whole world need the amount of creativity these Yuru Chara display, and Sakuma-san is a phenomenal example. And the 11th worst is Melon Kuma. Yeesh, this thing is real? Surprisingly enough, Melon Bear is a melon bear. I mean, I suppose he does accurately portray how scary bears can be, but is psyoping every child to be deathly afraid of this thing useful at all? I grew up with mascots glorifying and even humanizing the bear and still know not to fuck with one. The only thing keeping Melon Kuma from the bottom is that at events, he viciously mauls all the other mascots. Truly a dedicated performance. And then, when he needs to behave, an adorable old lady puts him on a leash. In the 11th best spot sits Nashiro. He's an alien with a pear for a brain that you can see through his crystal head. I wish I lived in Hitsu City so I could say that my mascot was the moose pear-brained alien creature. He's great. His design concept is unique and weird, but in practice they make him look really cute and memorable. He really reminds me of Reuniclus, one of the best Pokemon designs of all time. And when it comes to all the designs of aliens I've seen in all media, honestly Nashiro here really holds his own. I've been thinking about him every time I think about aliens recently, which happens to be more frequent than you'd probably think. Our 10th worst is Nashi Goman, the mascot of the bus services in Shiori City. This lame Sentai is just a Pepsi Man ripoff. You will never be him, Nashi Goman. I'm sorry. None of us will. Our 10th best is Marapper the Hip Hop Dog. That's a dog in sunglasses. It's a dog in sunglasses. He can dance. He's the mascot of his dance troupe. He's got that dog in him. I should probably make some Parappa the Rapper joke, but unlike Nashigo Man, I don't think this guy's a total PS1 ripoff. Plus, he's a dog in sunglasses. And the 9th worst is Mao Cho. Yes, you're seeing that right, your screens aren't broken. It's a Maui head sucking on a binky with a little angry bear hat. And upon looking into this one, it's actually got a really touching origin story. After a large part of Minami-Sanriku in the Miyagi Prefecture was destroyed by a very rough earthquake and tsunami, the city was gifted 2 Maui statues from the people of Easter Island as a gift of good tidings and friendship. This is really inspiring, and it is cute, but why couldn't they just make it 2 little Mauis hugging or stacked on top of each other, or just one chibi one instead of giving it the Looney Tunes babies treatment? This grumpy baby just isn't really a good representation of the strength these people have, in my opinion. I just hope they like it, that's all that matters. I mean, they did design it, so I'd hope so. If I was from Easter Island, though, and I sent over one of our incredibly rare monoliths to see the city babyfy it into this pissed off little toddler, I'd be like, alright. And our 9th best is our first duo with Hogo-chan and Sara-chan. Of all the characters we're talking about today, these 2 by far have the most downright dark themes, but it's hard to avoid that, I suppose, when what you're a mascot for is criminals. This one, in a weird way, is kind of the most wholesome too. Hogo and Sarah are ex-cons who meet you outside of prison when you finish your time, and welcome you back into society. Mondo has actually been kind enough to bless us with pictures of them back in their days on the yard. Everything is against these guys, but they're still here, and still our 9th best. They've quickly grown on me, but if I was one of the people seeing them after getting out of a life-destroying 50-year sentence, I'm just not sure how much I'd like them. And the 8th worst is Scopy-kun. Wanna guess what he is? Is he a silly little pasta man? No? Is he a little coat hook? Oh, he's an endoscope. A camera used to explore people's body cavities and the insides of their organs. There's a small part of me that thinks, okay. At least this makes it easier for children who have to undergo having this long-ass snake shoved up their nose or choking them. But then I realized that this is the real world, and if this mascot is doing anything at all, it's scaring those same kids even more. Scopy is not only useless, but he makes me queasy. I thankfully couldn't track down any sort of real costume for him, which is the only reason I'll be able to sleep tonight. And the 8th best is Chobot. I completely glossed over his name and thought he was a sugar cube at first, but after reading that he's a robot, I instantly fell in love with this little trapezoid. Chobot is the mascot representing Yahoo, which is apparently still a booming business in Japan. Despite being 15 hours ahead of us, they seem to be 15 years behind too. Chobot here is incredibly marketable. Just looking at him makes me want a plushie of him. If I get the unconscious urge to seek out merchandise for a mega corporation's figurehead, you know the character designer is probably a genius. While we got dumbasses over here in America marketing cheeseburgers to 7-year-olds with a clown and a racist. Oh, I was talking about Burger King. If you want to see me talk about some of America's stupidest mascots, I surprisingly have that video already. I'll put it in the card, and the end screen, and the description, so there's no reason not to watch it, am I right? And the 7th worst is Colin-chan. Cake wants me to let her cook, and it looks like that's what she's trying to do with that bag of groceries, but for obvious reasons, I don't want her anywhere near my food. She's so up her own ass that her hair is a large intestine. The type of business this is representing is colon cancer screening, which is a noble cause. Mrs. Colin-chan here is making me really torn. I like this chaotic idea where literally everything that needs promotion is obligated to have one of these guys. Like, on the importance scale, it's right below the name of the business and right above letting the employees go home. But the 7th best is Tsukima Mori. Many of these Yuru Chara are all about finding ways to get away with terrifying children, and nobody does it better than the king. Tsukima Mori is a giant one-eyed monster that hides in the gap between the train and the platform at the train station. His job is to scare children away from the edge and keep them clinging to their parents. I really hope this doesn't ever do the opposite and lure some stupidly brave kid to go find out if the monster under the train is real. But I like him. He serves a purpose other than selling some plastic garbage. He's straight out of Monsters Inc., and I really like his creepy crawly design. Japan's history is full of cryptids and monsters, and I wish more of these embraced that. And our 6th worst is Comboing. This is a piece of kelp with tits. I could almost, maybe, for some reason let that slide if this at all looked like kelp. It looks like the ghost of Mr. Hanky or a cob of unshucked corn mixed with a rotten banana, once again with massive tits. Is this supposed to make me want to buy kelp? I feel unnerved and definitely not hungry. Something as flat as seaweed, given this kind of curvature, sort of makes it completely unrecognizable. Terrible. The sixth best is OMC-kun, the manliest Yuru Chara of them all. Let me read this devil's whole Mondo Mascots post. OMC-kun, a sophisticated, art-loving raccoon dog, is a mascot from the southern Alps of Yamanshi, Japan. He's sophisticated, he's art-loving. Women want him, men want to be him. Raccoons, dogs, and everything in between probably also want him. This hunk may be too powerful. Lock him up with Mac tonight. Mac would be number 1 if he was made in Japan, by the way. This is what peak character design looks like. And the fifth worst is Soccer Monster. I have no words. Is this like how we have that Transformer for the NFL? God, he hurts to look at. He's like an SCP. I feel like I'm turning into plastic whenever our eyes meet. My breathing is labored and my mouth tastes like aspirin. Get this thing off the screen. Our fifth best is Rabbit. He's probably my biased favorite deep down. This angry little rabbit fellow even has the same silhouette as me. I can just imagine him reluctantly hanging out with me, going to the gas station getting Slurpees. Rabbit is the mascot for the Japanese radio station NAC 5FM. The only description we get of him from Mondo is that he is malevolent. This evil little bastard is incredible, and it makes me want to learn how to sew again so I can make my own little Rabbit. This nefarious, dubious little guy is a perfect mascot. He reminds me of Frank from Donnie Darko. 10 out of 10. The fourth worst is Yasakun. Similar to OMC-kun, I think it'd just be best if I read out his bio as given to us by Mondo. Yasakun is the mascot for Togane City, Japan. He's a boy reluctantly participating in a local festival, and his design was drawn in 5 minutes by a teenager. Yeah. They had no ideas for the mascot, so they asked some snot-nosed brat, and he drew his pissed-off OC, and the officials were just like, whatever. Whatever this festival is celebrating or whatever this town does it for, I would hate to go if they care so little. And if I was a teenager, I would hate to live with myself knowing that I didn't say a fire-breathing aquatic panther with purple dragonfly wings. You were given the opportunity of a lifetime, boy. And the fourth best is Hamomine. A chef's paradise, Seki City is known as the knife capital of Japan, and some say the world. How do you turn 780 years of forging mastery into a cute and memorable little stinker exactly like this? Much like Rabbit, Hamomine is an adorable little rabbit. But let's thank God it's him and not Hamomine cursed with malevolence, or the crime rate in Japan would be a lot higher than it is. With a curly queue of hair and a leaf for a tail, Hamomine slices his way into my heart and into fourth place. And the third worst is Zushi Haki, a Yuru Chara so cryptic that I couldn't even find it on Mondo Mascots. This disgusting creature is the anthropomorphic personification of clam sushi. Forget Mr. Peanut, move aside Captain Crunch, make way for Zushi Haki, the slimiest, most unappetizing 6-foot-tall corporate vagabond this side of Shibuya Station. Hello Kitty, you stay away from that thing. Moving on to the third best is Tomasaburo, an adorable little bush person. Tomasaburo is the mascot for the entirety of Suzuka City, which is famous for their rhododendron bushes, the same one between this guy's shoulders. The city's also famous for their role in the production of kimonos like our friend here is wearing. He's so huggable, he looks very friendly, and he's a good representation of the place he cheers for. I love Tomasaburo. He makes me want to command a vicious and terrible army of hedge people. I wish I was some sort of forest wizard that could just summon a ton of these guys to do my dishes and shit. Dropping down to the second worst is Harima and Yabashi, another duo. This one nowhere near as likable as the Convicted Penguins. Harima and Yabashi are two mascots that are supposed to be fairies guarding the quaint little Hariyama Bridge of Kochi City. I really wanted to hope that these two were just supposed to be railings of the bridge, but knowing Japan's weird and troubling history with racism, these two look more grotesquely off-putting than anything else. According to Mondo, they are currently trying to figure out how to keep children from crying. I wonder why. If you can somehow get past their controversial design, they're still terrifying as all hell. Even if you made them cute, the railing for a bridge is a stupid idea. Imagine trying to convince an American company to waste $50,000 a year employing two dipshits to stand outside of a bridge scaring children. Harima and Yabashi need to retire. And the second best is Koti-kun. A Koti is an animal I'm surprised that I've never heard of before, especially since there's way more on this side of the world than there are over in Asia, which is basically none unless you find yourself in a zoo. I'm not sure if it's because Coty kind of sounds like coffee, but there's a movement in Japan called the Coty Break Project, which encourages people to take a break from work every once in a while. This is already out the gate one of my favorite ones just based on its concept alone. If you're fortunate enough not to have heard some of the overseas horror stories, the people of Japan are often terribly overworked. He sips his tea with his tail and is just happy with doing nothing for a little bit. A genius design with a good message. In America, we have mascots for messages as well, but they're only ever for kids, and they're all just sort of bizarre. Ready Kilowatt is terrifying, Louie the Lightning Bug died of radiation poisoning, and the internet has irreparably ruined Smokey the Bear for me. America, can we please start making our mascots cute little dogs and stuff instead of giant buff tiger men? Up next, the very worst Yuru Chara is a judge. A judge with a monkey's face, a weasel's tail, and a panda's ears. Honestly, who cares that this thing is a godless abomination? Can you imagine getting sentenced to death by this smug little fuck? Oh, but this is the mascot for the Supreme Court in Japan. They don't hold trials, they just make the laws. Like this one, that won't allow divorces unless both parties agree. Japan is really strict and scarily so sometimes, and now I blame it all on this stupid little crossbreed. Maybe go for more of a cute little guy to teach about laws like Bill from Schoolhouse Rock, and less a direct representation of the actions of a bunch of creepy old men sitting around a big evil table. And then they had the gall to name this thing Satan. Wow guys, real subtle. And coming in at number 1, our very best mascot is Jallomoth. What can I say? It was rigged from the start. Look at my little sweater. Look at how my pants arm my shoes. How my eyes connect like Sonic and this little tufted neck fluff. I've won Best in Show at the Yuru Chara Championships for entire decades back to back. And right now, I'm just commenting on the current state of the game. I'm not quite up there with Domo and Kumaimon yet, but just you wait until the Jallomoth X Real Akuma collab comes out, it's gonna be big. I'd like my own Yuru Chara costume one day so I can promote something of my own. What would I promote though? I don't know. I don't even have an idea. Well, anyways, I've got nothing else to say, so go check out some of my other stuff if you're still here. And if you guys scrounge up enough of these funny little characters, maybe I can even make another one of these. Go follow Mondo Mascots on Twitter, follow me while you're there, of course subscribe, and stay curious.
I know this isn't a Lonely Island song. But
I was what?
Holy
Did you hear me?
shit.
Did you hear me?
No.
What? Wait, you didn't hear what I said?
No, we said it at the same time.
Oh, okay.